One of the things that my clients have to know before they buy or invest in Mexico is that the wrong visa can ruin your investment. So a temporary and a long-term visa, there is a major difference. Can you tell us what that difference is?
This interview is made special for all the international buyers who want to invest in Mexico but want to be secure about what they are doing with the legal implication in Mexico. So I will leave you here with Eduardo and with Aaron. He's gonna be the part of the buyer because he's gonna be representing. He is from the north, so he came here to Mexico and was making all the diligence. Now it's my partner, but I want you to listen all the questions what he was having mostly from the clients in America, and the one who helped us here in Mexico, the lawyer Eduardo.
Eduardo, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
One of the things that my clients have to know before they buy or invest in Mexico is that the wrong visa can ruin your investment. So a temporary and a long-term visa, there is a major difference. Can you tell us what that difference is?
Of course, that's a very common question. So main difference is that a temporary visa is usually for 6 months up to 4 years. It's mostly for people that wants to try the waters to see if Mexico is a good place for them to live. The permanent residence has more strong requirements, but those are for ones that people wants to buy like houses or invest in Mexico. That will be the ideal visa for them.
So if you're moving here long-term, you want a long-term visa. And if you're just trying it out and testing the waters or even making short-term investments, you can get away with
a temporary visa, correct.
Okay, very good. Eduardo, one of the more interesting questions that I hear quite often is, North Americans believe that if you get your citizenship or your residency here in Mexico, that means you have to give up your U.S. citizenship. Okay. And maybe you can talk a little bit about.
Of course, that's a very common question as well. Since most people is afraid, that is more part of the international law. So here in Mexico, they don't have to worry. We have a lot of customers that have like 2 or 3 nationalities, like from Russian and Canadian Mexican, or Mexican Canadian American, or it doesn't matter. They can have many nationalities. They don't have to worry about getting the Mexican one. It's gonna take out the other one.
There seems to be a lot of confusion with people looking to invest in Mexico about where foreigners can invest. And I know that I've heard from a number of people that, oh, we can't buy there, or we can't rent there, or we can't do something in this location just due to its proximity to the border or to the coastline. But I think it would be good if you brought some clarity for everybody on what that actually means.
So in order to answer this question, just let me explain first what's the restricted zone. The restricted zone is 50 kilometers from any coastline or 100 kilometers from the international border. This is to protect national security. But don't worry, there's a secure legal way called the Fideicomiso or bank trust. The Fideicomiso system has been in Mexico since 1974. Here's how it works. Mexican banks hold the titles of the property on your behalf, but you still have full control. You can sell it, you can rent it, or you can leave it to inheritance.
I know that when I bought my first home using a Fideicomiso, it was a little bit confusing. We don't do that in the North, but it's a very, very cool system they have here. And one thing I want to talk a little bit more about is what protections, what length of time, and what's guaranteed inside of a Fideicomiso for a foreign investor.
So I understand the fear. Everybody will have fear if they buy something and they don't hold the title. However, the only reason why the bank hold the title is because of the restricted zone. However, you still have fully rights of your own property, so you don't have to worry. It is your property and you will have it for the rest of your life. Even though the Fideicomiso is for 50 years, is 100% renewable, so you don't have to worry about the time or the length. You can renew it forever.
One of the questions that I get asked probably the most from clients that are looking to purchase in Mexico is, what are the hidden costs, or what are the legal fees, or what are the Fideicomiso fees that are involved? and really what can they be looking forward to financially that's going to be on top of the purchase price of the home or the land that they're looking at. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about what the fee structure is with an attorney, the Fideicomiso, and if there's any other hidden costs that they can be aware of right now so that they're ready when the time comes.
So that's a good question. There is not a fixed rate. You have to know there is a percentage. You also have to pay a notary plus the lawyer plus a lot of taxes. So the most important thing that you need to know is that the percentage of your house, you have to add between 3 to 15% in top in order for you to not have any other hidden prices. Okay, so there's important for you to consider that there are some fixed costs and variable costs depending on the appraisal of your house. However, you don't need to worry because your real estate agent will help you through the process before you buy the property.
During my process, one of the things I found the most easy was the documents that I needed to provide in order to purchase in Mexico. So why don't you tell everybody the short list that they need in order to purchase in Mexico and get through the entire process?
Yeah, so like you said, that's an easy one. The only things that you need is the ID, that can be your passport. You will need your address and the bank statement. You will also need to fill out the entry laundry form in order for you to proceed.
I know that we've all heard stories of people purchasing pre-sale or investing in a property and the developer doesn't come through. And of course, these are horror stories and they're few and far between, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about what somebody should look for when they're choosing a developer. And in my opinion, doing the best purchase option, which is a pre-sale.
So it's very important for people that is looking to invest on a property to, from the beginning, have a real estate agent and a lawyer. Why? Because you need to check the paperwork of the developers. It's super important. I have had a lot of cases when people have invest a lot of money, and whenever they come, the developer doesn't exist. They don't have a real agency, or the building is not on their names. They were just selling air. It's very important also to have a very good real estate agent that is going to help you to avoid all these frauds in the future.
Eduardo, thank you again for spending time with us and giving us some really good answers. Here at White Rock, we work with Eduardo's firm. And right now he is offering some special deals on working through the processes that he talked about today. And just so you know that when we work with customers, we always recommend that they get a good attorney. A good agent you already have, but an attorney you got to get, because there are many, many pitfalls, but also there's a lot of success that can be found in investing in the Riviera Maya. So Eduardo, thank you again.
Thank you for inviting me. It was an honor to work with White Rocks. You have always been very successful in what you do.